So one of the questions I get asked most often in the fitting bay is, how do I hit the driver further? Well, today we're going to look at a few of the reasons why, not just from an equipment point of view, but what you can do from a swing delivery standpoint to get the most out of your driver. Let's find out what we do. So everyone wants to know what it is that makes that happen. You know, ideally long, straight, predictable ball flight. So from an equipment point of view, the keys are really getting the head style right, the loft right, and from a shaft, the timing. The shaft allows you to strike the ball and to move as cleanly as possible. Now, we would often be solely talking about these aspects in this video. However, there are things that you can do as a player that are going to massively influence what kind of results you can get out of the driver at the end of the day as well. So let's focus on those today rather than just the club stuff that we normally do. So one of the biggest key aspects, and it's also once you've got a club that suits you, how can you get the most out of it? One of the most important aspects is, just like that shot there, is the strike on the face. That one's really, really centered. So we've got good launch angle, good spin, but we've got representative ball speed from the club face. If what we do is we miss the center of the face, which is something that, as golfers we're all really rather familiar with, is how much does it really affect the ball speed? So one out the middle there, for me that swing 161 miles an hour ball speed. If I can swing at the same speed but miss the center, so that one's out of the toe of the club, so slightly slower club speed, 106 miles an hour, but we drop down to 153 miles an hour ball speed. Now that's just out the toe side. The toe's a really good miss because it keeps the spin down. So that's actually kept a reasonable bit of distance. If I do the same thing out the heel, we'll have a much, much bigger effect on distance because of the way that the ball gears across the face and changes the spin. So let's miss the middle, but on the heel side. Now, I've nearly missed the ball there completely. That was an absolute rotter of a strike. But what we can see there, 105, 106 miles an hour club speed, 144 miles an hour ball speed. So we've gone from 160 miles an hour to 144 miles an hour just by losing strike point on the face. And that's something that I think is massively overlooked in terms of what gives you quality of ball strike, consistency of flight. But we've gone from 296 yards to 247. Now, yes, that is an exaggerated miss. But the line of the swing, the delivery, path half a degree, face to path 2 degrees closed. That's actually I'm quite pleased with that delivery. But I got an absolutely horrendous result out of it from my own driver, which I fitted in this bay. So we've lost 20% of distance just from that miss hit. So that's key number one. Let's move on to the next bit. So aside from club speed, which obviously has an impact on distance, that's going to be unique to the player themselves. So what else can we do that's going to have an impact on distance and quality of ball flight? And that is angle of attack. So people talk about angle of attack based on hitting up creates more distance. So what we mean by angle of attack is literally the angle the club head is traveling at impact. So a negative angle of attack means the club head's hitting down on the ball, and a positive angle of attack means it's hitting up on the ball through impact. And the reason why it's important with the driver, because the weight sits a long way away from the club face, whereas on an iron it's right on the back of the club face. With the driver it's way back here somewhere. So if you hit down on it, if we look at the angle that's creating, you're looking for an upward ball flight and a downward strike. So you've got a very, very offset delivery of the weight to the flight you're trying to achieve, which does that and creates backspin. Whereas if you hit up through the back of the ball, we're essentially lining up the centre of mass, the ball and the flight as closely as possible, which means a very square hit through minimises backspin. In the same way that you'll be hitting a drop shot in tennis, you're hitting down on it to create backspin, and you're hitting up on it to create topspin for those kind of shots. It's the same principles with the driver. So if I don't change tee height and all I change is angle of attack, what does it do to ball flight? So I'm going to hit down on one first. So one, the ball flight's come out low. So for this one, I've only hit down at 2 degrees, but I've struck it well. Launch angle's down at 9 degrees, spin at just over 2,000. I've got a good contact on that. So that's about the best case scenario for a low shot because it hasn't actually flared the spin up too much. If I had the club face at all open, that spin, which I'll do on this one, that spin's going to go through the roof. So that's actually still gone quite a good distance, albeit like a bullet. If I get a little bit open on the club face there, and I hit down and across with an open face, still a good contact. Now we've got 3,000 on spin, 14 degrees launch. We lost 7 or 8 miles an hour ball speed, but we've also lost 30 yards, 25 yards of distance. Purely that little bit down, little across, face to target is actually still bang on, but because we work the path across and effectively offset against the line we want to hit the ball on, it's created side spin, back spin, and a weaker ball flight. So from there, and an open club face is also always going to lose more distance because with a closed face, it's closing and therefore squaring through. There's more energy going through the back of the ball. An open face, one, the ball then works up, so you're losing ball speed because the ball's going upward rather than forward, but also then there's that extra backspin. So then if I make the same swing, even with that out to in swing and hit up on the back of the ball, so with that one, okay, so I've hit it a little lower on the face, we've still got a bit more spin, but the ball speed's back up. So by hitting, that one's dead flat, 0.2 of a degree up. The strike point actually wasn't as good as the previous shot, but the ball speed's gone back up 4 or 5 miles an hour. So the potential for distance, if I actually caught it on the right bit of the face, going back to our first point, massively important. That then puts us, up there close to kind of 280 yards again, maybe 7 or 8, 10 yards back from a clean hit. So to go back to where we're really trying to get to, from a swing line point of view, if I just sweep up on that and square it off a little bit more, so there you can see with that one, we've hit up on it a little bit more, close the face, so it's a slight draw move through the ball, but that combination of hitting up and squaring the face through has given us higher launch, so 13 launch, but a stronger spin rate. That in itself, a little bit more ball speed, we're up to 159 again, and 297 in terms of distance. So there's a huge differential that can be had just from, well, as we saw earlier, strike point making a massive difference, but getting that swing aligned, a little bit more stable through impact, that combination of longer but also more consistent in terms of shot pattern. So no matter what the conditions, you're going to see longer and straighter shots if you can do both of those. So in summary, a little bit of help on angle of attack and a little bit in terms of focusing really on strike point can yield massive gains with the driver in particular. If you like what you've seen, there's so much more in store. Let us know what you'd like to see. We're keen to do whatever you'd like us to do. We've got so much planned in the pipeline and with some great production that we're adding in as well. So like and subscribe, let us know what you'd like to see, and we look forward to seeing you in future videos.